has to be Cristiano Ronaldo.
Sixers, if they play Boston first round, Celtics are a first round exit.
Oh
They're
my
going
gosh, you are
bye.
insane.
And all 4 games that they lost in the ALCS were in Houston, the only place that they were cheating. Now,
The same way he's been playing, it doesn't matter. If Sam Darnold has that coaching staff in that playbook, he's a better player. We saw it in the last 5 weeks of the NFL regular season last year, and we're going to see it this entire season.
Hang on.
Wait,
hang on.
Kawhi Leonard is just a tad better than LeBron James. After he
welcome
won the
back to
championship.
Go Chat. Welcome back to another episode. We are on episode number 7.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We're here with episode 18. We love all the support you guys are giving us through episodes 1 through 17. The numbers just keep on getting better. We're on the rise, and it's all thanks to you guys. We truly appreciate it. We're going to start off signature segment, GOAT of the Number. We're on number 18 here. Sponsored by 1306 Sports. Anything you want to find sports related, they have it there. They have the articles. They have podcasts similar to us. They have everything you can think of. Tommy, myself, we wrote some articles there. Go check those out. It's a great source. Tommy, I'll start with you there, number 18.
well, this was a tough one, Connor. I know we were talking about before the episode. I was thinking about Johnny Damon, but I'm going to go with Peyton Manning, I think. Otherwise, people wouldn't be too happy about it if I did. But, Peyton's one of the best of all time, obviously. 14 Pro Bowls. He won 2 Super Bowls. He was just outstanding his whole career. Threw for over 71,000 yards. I'm looking at all these stats right now. 539 career touchdowns. He was just great. So I got to go with Peyton Manning.
Tommy, you really scared me for the second.
Yeah, I wanted to pick Johnny David, but I know people wouldn't be thrilled if I picked against Peyton. So we're going with Peyton.
Mike, 18.
Easily Peyton Manning, no competition whatsoever. I mean, Peyton Manning, probably one of the top 3 quarterbacks of all time. He was just such a talented quarterback, such a talented thrower of the football. Like Tommy said, 14 Pro Bowls, 7 All-Pros, 5 MVPs. I mean, how many other NFL players can say that? Has any other player even won 5 MVPs? I don't think so.
No.
So Peyton Manning was outstanding, one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. We're lucky to get to see probably like the end of his career with Denver and his last couple of years with Indianapolis. And he came back from a huge back and neck injury from the Colts, goes to the Broncos, breaks the touchdown record. So it definitely has to be Peyton Manning.
Matt?
I think it's kind of insane that Tommy said it was a close one. It's not even close. Like Peyton Manning just is here and everyone else is here. But Peyton Manning, also what he did was, I think he's one of the only players to win an MVP on 2 different teams. I'm not sure if he's the only one, but it's definitely got to be Peyton Manning. I don't know what Tommy's talking about. I really don't know what Tommy's talking about any episode. He just names all these baseball players that just fly over my head. But it's Peyton Manning. No explanation needed.
Well, yeah, for the first time since episode 2, we're all going to agree for the go to the number. It is Peyton Manning. Now, you guys threw out a lot of the numbers there. I don't have to throw out any of those numbers. I did find some 2 incredible stats that go off the radar a lot of the times. And through his career, he has led 54 game-winning drives. 54. He's also led 43 comebacks. It's insane. You're not going to see quarterbacks with those numbers. He's only had 2 seasons in his entire career where his completion percentage was under 60%. His first season and his last season. And the last season was a 59.9. He's only had 2 seasons under a 500 record. His first season, and then I think it was his 3rd or his 4th where they went 6-10. He was an extremely consistent quarterback all throughout his career. Obviously, the neck injury, a lot of people thought he was going to be done. They had no idea we had no idea if we were going to see Peyton Manning on the field again. Then he came back to Denver and lit it up, won a Super Bowl there, and really silenced all the haters. It's easily Peyton Manning, not Johnny Damon. Don't listen to Tommy.
There's 4 neck surgeries
I'm
too.
just kidding about that. Obviously it's Peyton Manning. It's hard to go against him. He was great.
You almost did though.
Well, not really. I wanted to go with the baseball guy, but you can't argue with those stats.
I wanted to go with a baseball guy because he never goes with a baseball guy, so he's got to switch it up a little.
It is true, but Peyton's incredible. So
You know what's so surprising about Peyton Manning? His first year was not good at all. He threw 28 picks his first year. If I see a quarterback go out and do that, I'm like, wow, he's one of the biggest busts I've ever seen. Blah 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 blah. I have no faith in him. And he comes out the rest of his career just absolutely kills it. And it's really surprising to see. You got to give all these young players time, so it's kind of hard to judge them.
I'm going to be a sour Jets fan here for a second. The year before Peyton was drafted, he was ready to come to the NFL and everything. Jets had the first overall pick. Peyton Manning did not want to be a New York Jet. He went back to college for another year, waited for the Jets not to have the number 1 pick, and then ultimately was drafted by the Colts. How different would the Jets' career and dynasty be had Peyton Manning been in the green and white?
Who wants to be a Jet? I mean, like Jamal Adams,
I'd rather be a Jet than a Colt. To be honest, I mean, I don't think the Jets are that bad. The Colts are just like, I mean, I guess he's a country boy or whatever. Went to Tennessee, but whatever. Who the Jets end up taking with that first overall pick? Do you know?
I think that was the year they drafted Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, they definitely missed out.
I think this is a great end to go into our next segment, which is start, bench, cut. We got all these guys. We're ready. You guys ready?
Ready to go. Ready to make Mike mad.
That's always
be wrong.
Go,
be wrong.
All right, we'll see you next. Welcome back to Go Chat. We just had to go to number 18. We all got Peyton Manning. That's good. We'll put that aside. And now we're going to head into start, bench, cut segment. Obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm sure you guys have seen it, sports fans. Connor, why don't you start us off with the first one that we have?
So I'm going to start us off here, and I'm going to send it to our baseball guy first because it is baseball. It's going to be 3 of the top pitchers in the MLB. We're going to go with Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and Garrett Cole. Tommy, who are you starting, who are you benching, and who's getting cut?
Well, it's incredibly tough because, you'd be happy to have anyone on your team. I mean, but I don't know. This is tough. I want to be loyal to the Yankee, but I think I'm going to start Jacob deGrom. I'm going to bench Garrett Cole, and then I'm going to cut Max Scherzer. Now, Max is incredible, and I hate to cut him, but I just think that, because deGrom and Cole are younger, I think that they're going to be more productive over the next couple of seasons, especially this year. And Jacob deGrom, we talked about a couple episodes, right, Mike, about how he doesn't get run support. And, the record isn't a good reflection of the type of pitcher he is. His ERA is outstanding. Won the Cy Young in 2018. Just won over 500 and he 1.79 ERA. He was great. And Garrett Cole obviously just signed that big contract with the Yankees, and he's outstanding. He's very consistent, so I'm going to bench him. But, yeah, that was a tough one.
Mike.
I got to agree with Tommy here. I'm starting Jacob deGrom, benching Garrett Cole, and cutting Max Scherzer. I think Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher in baseball. He might not be as good as a strikeout pitcher as Cole and Scherzer are, but he just does not allow players to touch that home plate. His ERA is absolutely insane. 2 Cy Youngs in a row. He's going for a third this year. I think he could definitely win it. Scherzer, Strasburg might have something to say about that. But I think deGrom has a great chance of going for that third one. He would be only one of the only pitchers to do so. And then I'm taking Cole over Scherzer just because I think he's been just a little better over the past couple of years, especially in the playoffs. Obviously, Scherzer won the title last year, but before that, one of the Nats really done anything in the playoffs. So I gotta go with Cole, and Scherzer is amazing too. So, I mean, but he's the odd man out.
Matt.
This was a hard one for me. I definitely cut Scherzer. Like that was my right away. I'm gonna start like you guys start deGrom and bench Cole just because of age difference, and I just thought that deGrom has been better. Obviously, they're all good pitchers, but I think just deGrom is a little better.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you guys all here. deGrom just has the better resume right now to be the starter between these 3. And then Garrett Cole's just that step behind. If he does have a couple good seasons in New York, I think that could switch there. And the only reason why I'm cutting Scherzer is simply because of age. He's getting up there in age, and he's had an incredible career, arguably a Hall of Fame career. And if he was younger, if he was the same age as deGrom or Garrett Cole, he'd be starting.
Well, I think one thing you have to take into account is how bad the Mets defense has been the past couple of years. I mean, they've had a couple defensive specials at center field, but it's nothing compared to what the Astros and the Nationals have. And Jacob deGrom is still the ERA king after a horrible defense behind him. So you also have to take that into account. But I think these three right here are the top three pitchers in the MLB.
Absolutely.
All right, so we can move on to the next one, which is NFL quarterbacks. We got Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. Connor, go. Who are you starting, benching, cutting?
This one actually wasn't that hard for me, believe it or not. I'm going to start the best quarterback in the league right now and someone who's going to be up there. That's Patrick Mahomes easily. Russell Wilson is just a tick behind Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion. So I'm going to bench Russell Wilson. And I've said it on this show before. I don't think Lamar Jackson is ever going to have as good of a season as he did last season. So I'm cutting Lamar Jackson.
Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Connor on that one. Mahomes obviously just signed that big contract. He's the best quarterback in the game right now. Won the Super Bowl last season. So I'm going to start him, and then, I'm going to bench Russell Wilson. And, he's a member of the Yankees as well. Let's not forget that. So big fan of Russell Wilson. And, Lamar Jackson, I think he could have an incredible career. But, I'd have to agree with you, Connor. I think that, he came out of the gate really strong, and he might not be able to replicate that. So I think I'm going to end up cutting him.
Mike, what do you think?
There's definitely only one right answer. And previous to Connor and Tommy, they said it's starting Pat Mahomes, benching Russell Wilson, cutting Lamar. I think Russell Wilson is so good. I think people don't realize how good he is. I just think he doesn't really get to show that. But I don't think the coaching staff for Seattle really utilizes his abilities to the best. I feel like he constantly has to pull them out of games because they're always trying to run the ball while they should be more of a throw-centric offense from the jump. And, well, Pat Mahomes, that's self-explanatory. But once again, I think Russell Wilson just a tad behind Pat Mahomes. And then with Lamar, I have to disagree with you guys. I think he will have many more really good seasons to come. Probably not as good of a rushing season. I think he's going to keep developing his throwing ability, and you'll see his rushing slowly diminish throughout his career as the Ravens try to protect him. But starting Mahomes, benching Wilson, cutting Lamar.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys on there. Definitely starting Patrick Mahomes, no doubt. Going to bench Russell Wilson, great quarterback, and then cut Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar's 2 years into the league. We don't know what he's going to do, but he is a really great quarterback. If it was for running abilities too, I'd definitely start Lamar. But if throwing abilities, I got to cut Lamar. So that's for mine.
All right, we're going to move right into our third one, which is now basketball. We're going to go with Jason Tatum, Luka Doncic, and Trae Young. Mike, I'm going to start with you here.
This is a really good one here, especially as a Celtics fan. I have to start Luka Doncic, bench Jason Tatum, and then cut Trae Young. I think Luka Doncic is just ahead of both these players by a decent margin. Well, he's ahead by Jason Tatum by a little bit, because Jason Tatum was really starting to heat up at the end of the season and showing what he potentially could be. So Luka, but the reason I'm taking Doncic over Tatum is because of his passing ability and his rebounding ability. He can just do everything on the floor, while Jason Tatum doesn't have as good of an all-around game. But I think Jason Tatum does have the best defense out of all these players by far, which you could argue makes him better than Doncic. I don't necessarily think so, but I think Trae Young is the obvious cut here. Yes, he puts up a lot of points in assists per game, but his defense is not good. And, he made an all-star team, but I don't think he's as good as the other players.
Tommy.
I'm going to agree with Mike on this one, too. I'm going to start Luka Doncic, bench,
Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum, and then I'm gonna cut Trae Young. And Trae Young's a very good player, but he hasn't lived up to the hype coming out of Oklahoma that he had. So yeah, I'm gonna cut him. And then Luka Doncic, obviously one of the bright young stars in the game. So I'm gonna start him, and then Jason Tatum. He's very good. It's a tough one, but yeah, I'm gonna bench him.
Matt, what's your opinion on this one?
I'm agreeing with you guys. Starting Luka Doncic, benching Jason Tatum, and cutting Trae Young. Trae Young was obvious cut for me. I just think that he's a great player, but he's not living up to what Doncic and Tatum has been doing. I think that Doncic is just a little over Tatum. I think Tatum's a great player, but I got to start Doncic here.
Yeah, these first three we're all going to be unanimous here. Definitely starting Doncic. I mean, he's just a step above the rest. And I mean, he's making trick shots down there in the bubble. So I mean, that puts him even farther up there. No, but Jason Tatum's definitely developing a great game. He's going to be the franchise star of the Celtics there for years. And then Trae Young, he's a very good player. People have had resemblances to him for Stephen Curry. Obviously, Stephen Curry didn't have a very hot start to his career, but I mean, we see where he is now. So that could happen for Trae. It just hasn't happened yet. So that's the cut for me.
Well, one thing I know Matt and Tommy, said that Trae Young isn't necessarily living up to expectations, and I have to disagree with it.
I said he's not living up to Doncic or Tatum.
Oh yeah, but I just want to give Trae Young his due credit because he's a really good player, and I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, Steph Curry is a good comparison. I feel like a better one is Steve Nash because I feel like one of Trae Young's best abilities is how he passes the ball, but I just felt like I need to give him his due credit because he's also a really good young emerging player.
Yeah. Okay. We'll move on to the next one, which is also NFL. We got Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, and Dak Prescott. Connor, what do you think?
Aha! It's my turn. We're getting Mike mad. No, I'm gonna start Carson Wentz here, and then I'm gonna bench Dak. I'm cutting Jared Goff. Jared Goff was the first overall pick in this 2016 draft. And, I mean, he hasn't lived up to it. I'd love to say that he is because I liked the guy. He did have a good season there in LA, but he hasn't lived up to the first overall pick. Dak, he's a good quarterback. He really is. He just hasn't gotten over that hump there. He hasn't gotten over the hump. He hasn't had a very decent playoff run. And when he was in the playoffs, in my opinion, he was led by Ezekiel Elliott. Carson Wentz, if he wasn't injured, if he didn't tear his ACL, that he had an MVP season easily, and he would have won that Super Bowl even though Nick Foles did. It would have been Carson Wentz there. I'm starting Carson Wentz, benching Dak, cutting Jared Goff.
All right. Mike, what do you think? What are your response?
Well, I mean, listen, I like Carson Wentz a lot. I think he's a really good quarterback. I just think he's just a little bit behind Dak. I just think Dak has been more of a consistent winner over his first 4 years. He's much more durable. He's someone who I can rely on day in, day out, while Carson Wentz, I'm wondering if he's going to play the next game because he's literally a piece of glass. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, playoff runs. Wentz hasn't even won a playoff game. He hasn't even played a full playoff game. I don't know what you're talking about. You got taken out of the one Seattle. Was Clowney? I mean, it was kind of a cheap shot from in the back of the head. But Carson Wentz didn't even finish that game. He didn't even start that game well. It was punt his first 3 drives. And McCown came into that game and played better than Wentz, okay? So I don't know what you're talking about playoff run. Dak has at least won a playoff game. And there were the two other playoff games that he played in. They definitely could have won that game. Dak was not the reason why they lost. Dak was the only reason why they were in both of those games. And 40-24 through his first 4 years. Only other quarterback to do that is Russell Wilson. So I'm starting Dak, benching Wentz, and cutting Goff.
Tommy, what do you think? Yeah, I'm gonna start Dak Prescott, and I'm gonna bench and I'm gonna bench Carson Wentz, and I'm gonna cut Jared Goff. I think that Dak eventually will get over the hump. I think that he is gonna do well there in Dallas. I don't know. I just think that things are going to turn around with the new coach for him. And, that's why I'm going to start him. And I don't know. That's a tough one, though, obviously. Carson Wentz is great. And, Jared Goff just fell short on this one, but that's who I'm going to go with for that.
All right. I'm going to have to agree with Connor here. It's definitely start Wentz, bench Dak Prescott, and cut Goff. Cutting Goff was easy. I agree with everything Connor said. Last season, Carson Wentz had his wide receivers were practice squad players. I mean, he had no weapons around him. And also, when you look at Dak Prescott, he was 1-6 against playoff teams and 7-2 against non-playoff teams. So he can't even play against a playoff team? 1-6? That's not good. 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions in those games against playoff teams. And then, so what I'm going to think about Wentz is I think Wentz is a better quarterback. Yes, Wentz is glass. I will agree with that. But also, the Seahawks was definitely not. I don't blame the guy for getting hurt. I mean, that was a really cheap shot.
Yeah.
But I'm taking Wentz over. And also, Wentz definitely would have took the Eagles to the Super Bowl that year. They only lost like 1 game. He had an MVP season. He finished second in touchdowns for playing 13 games. Well, Russell Wilson was the only one over him 2 touchdowns. He played 13 games and he was second in touchdowns. Don't tell me that Carson Wentz would have not took the Eagles to the Super Bowl. You can't tell me that. I mean, obviously, I have nothing to prove it. Yes, I don't. But you can't tell me that Carson Wentz would have not took that team to the playoffs.
That was his sophomore year, right?
That was his
second year.
Yep. I don't really think that they would have won the Super Bowl. I think a big reason they won the Super Bowl was because of their underdog mentality. You see Lane Johnson, with the dog mask after winning the Super Bowl. I think that was a big part of why they won the Super Bowl and why they played so well. Nick Foles elevated everyone around him to play better. While I think if it was just with Wentz, I feel like they might have relied on Wentz too heavily because of how great of a season he had. Yes, he did have a great season. But one thing I want to point out, Dak has not had nearly as good of a coaching staff as the other 2 players. Sean McVay is a really good coach, made it to the Super Bowl, not this past year, but the year before. Doug Peterson, top 3 coach in the NFL, in my opinion.
Peterson had 2 years over his – he only was a head coach for like 2 years when Carson – I keep mixing up the names. Carson came in. Jason Garrett worked with Tony Romo. Yes, he's not the best coach, but he can make it to the playoffs. He worked with Tony Romo. And who made it to the playoffs last year? Right, once.
Okay, let me finish my point. I'm saying Doug Peterson is a great coach because he puts players in positions to succeed. Well, I don't think Jason Garrett does that. I feel like Jason Garrett goes there and says, this is what we're going to do, and either you guys fit the system or it's not going to work. And last year, it did not work. Dak was the only reason why they were even close to 8-8 last year. Jason Garrett constantly took the ball out of Dak's hands in big game and late game situations, as you saw with the Vikings. All the Cowboys need to do was win one more game last year, and yes, they didn't. I understand that, but I don't think that was Dak's fault whatsoever. I think
can't win against a playoff team. 1-6. 1-6.
I understand, but I'm saying that the coaching staff, the special teams.
You're just gonna blame on the coaching staff.
Yes, and the special teams. The Cowboys averaged the worst starting field position in the whole NFL. They had the 32nd worst special
teams. That you're acting like that's gonna win you a game.
Okay, there's a big difference between starting on the 20-yard line each drive or starting on the 45. The Cowboys defense were like bottom 5 in turnovers last year. They had no turnovers. Dak had no help. He constantly had to go 80 yards down the field.
Wentz had help. Okay, it makes so much sense.
This isn't a conversation about the teams around them. It's Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott.
I'm saying that's why Dak – listen, the Cowboys, according to advanced metrics and expected record because of point differential, the Cowboys were a 10-6 team last year. Okay, so listen.
Did they end that way?
No, they didn't. They didn't end that way. I'm just saying that Dak propelled the Cowboys up while the team brought him down, and that's why the Cowboys had a record that they did.
Higher than Dak.
What?
Wentz propelled the Eagles higher than Dak, hence why they made the playoffs.
I'm saying that a bigger part of the reason was because of how good of a coach Doug Peterson is.
I mean, you also look at the Eagles' corners got hurt like every week.
Week 17 last year, Dallas and Philadelphia both had a chance to make the playoffs. Carson Wentz led a team and won a game when he needed to.
Okay, yeah, he beat like the Giants by like 7. Congrats.
Okay,
Oh
Dallas
my
beat the
God.
Redskins 47-18 or something.
I know because Wentz beat Dak the week before, and I'm giving him credit for that. Wentz won the games he needed to, but I'm saying
That's
you
what
look at
makes
the
the
resume over the
quarterback. That's
past
what
4
makes a better
years. Dak
quarterback.
has won more games. Dak has led more game-winning drives than Wentz. He's been more reliable than Wentz. He's been a better quarterback than Wentz.
There's no more need to argue about this. Obviously, we don't agree. That's fine. That's part of sports. People aren't going to agree. Let's just move on to our next one here. We're going to go back into Tommy's ballpark here. So back into baseball. We have 3 outfielders. We have Mookie Betts, Christian Yelich, and Cody Bellinger. Tommy, who are you going with?
I don't know, Kyle. This is a really tough one. I think that I'm going to start Christian Yelich. I don't know. This is tough. Then
Tommy, go. Come on, go.
Okay, then I'm going to bench Cody Bellinger, and I'm going to cut Mookie Betts. Yeah, that's who I'm going to go with. I don't know. But Mookie, I will say this. Mookie is incredible. I think that he will be a Hall of Famer by the end of his career. I just think where Yelich is right now, he's in a really good spot, and so is Cody Bellinger. I think with this list, we're looking at 3 Hall of Famers. So, similar to the pitching one with deGrom, Cole, and Scherzer, it's really tough. I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. But, I just think that Bellinger, I'm going to bench him over, putting Mookie Betts in that spot just because, it's a toss-up. But, Bellinger's on a really good team. Obviously, Mookie's with him now. I think they're going to help each other out. And, I think that's tough, but I'm going to go with Bellinger.
Mike, what are you thinking?
Dude, I mean, me and Tommy have agreed on every start bench cut so far. I mean, what can I say? Great minds think alike. I have to go with Christian Yelich to start, Cody Bellinger, then I'm benching Betts. I think Mookie Betts is a great player, but I think both of those players have been playing a lot, well, not a lot better, but they've been playing better recently, especially last year. You look at Cody Bellinger's emergence, and then you look at Christian Yelich. You look back at that trade between the Brewers and the Marlins. What a steal for the Brewers getting a top 3 player in the MLB and Christian Yelich. But I that's what I have to go with. Yelich, Bellinger, then Betts.
Matt?
I'm going to go with the same as you guys. Yelich, Bellinger, Betts. I think that they're all great players. Don't get me wrong. I think that, I think Yelich has a little over Bellinger, but like I said, great players. I'm really interested to see Betts and Bellinger this year together. That whole Dodgers team. But
that's crazy when you think about it. I honestly totally forgot about it. Is you look at some of these players and you think they're on different teams, and you're like, oh wait, Betts and Bellinger on the same team. I mean, that's gonna be an insane lineup.
Yeah, Yankees will beat him in the World Series, though.
So I'm actually going to switch Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich. I'm going to start Cody Bellinger for one reason and one reason only. He has stayed on the field. Christian Yelich at times has had some injuries that have taken him out of play. Last year, he was having the MVP season before he broke his foot or something.
Yeah, he fouled the ball off his foot.
And then he had to get taken out, obviously allowing Cody Bellinger to win the MVP. When I'm looking at this, I'm looking at a player who I can rely on every single day, and they can go out there and play 156 games and have a couple off days. And that off of this list for me is Cody Bellinger. He has the pure talent, and he has the durability to be out there anytime you need him. So that's why I'm going to go with Cody Bellinger over Christian Yelich. But like you guys, I agree with you guys with the benching or the cutting of Mookie.
Let's move into the next one. We have NCAA basketball, which is interesting. It's coaches. So we got Coach K, Coach Boeheim, and Coach Williams. Obviously Duke, Syracuse, and UNC. Tommy, I know you love Syracuse. What are you going to go with?
Yeah, I'm going to start Coach K on this one. I mean, he's the best coach of all time. It's hard to go against him, but I'm going to bench Jim Boeheim. I'm going to put him over Roy Williams. And I think that everybody knows that Jim Boeheim has over 1,000 wins. I mean, it might not show it in the record book due to the sanctions, but Jim is one of the best coaches of all time. I mean, you look at what he's done. It's just incredible. He brought the national title to Syracuse in 2003, and so many other good teams over the years. Sent a lot of guys to the NBA. So I'm going to bench him. But Roy Williams, he's been incredible too, what he's been able to do with UNC. And it's another one. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of these guys. But, Coach K, I think, is just a step above all of them. But yeah, that's who I'm gonna go with for that one.
Mike, what do you got?
Sorry, Tommy, I have to disagree with you. I'm definitely starting Coach K. Like you said, Tommy, best coach of all time. But I'm gonna bench Roy Williams and then cut Boeheim. I feel like it was really close between Williams and Boeheim. I just think Williams has been a little better recently than Boeheim has. Outside of last year, which UNC did not have a good season, you could argue that was lack of talent, but over the past 5 years, I think Williams has been the better coach than Boeheim, which is why I'm picking him over Boeheim.
Connor, what do you got?
I'm going to be going with Coach K starting. You guys said he's the best coach of all time. I'm going to bench Jim Boeheim and cut Roy Williams. The one thing with Jim Boeheim is he hasn't had very great teams over his last couple years, and he still had 2 Final Four runs. I mean, he took an 11 seed just a couple of years ago to the Final Four, which is impressive. And a lot of goes into an NCAA tournament run, and I think at the top of the line of that is the coaching. You have to be able to control your players in that element, and taking an 11 seed team to the Final Four is all about Jim Boeheim's coaching there. So that's why I'm going to bench him over Roy Williams.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with Connor and Tommy. Coach K is easily the best, no doubt. Boeheim, bench, then cut Roy Williams. Was it a 10 or 11 seed? Why am I keep mixing this up?
I think it was 10. I'm not sure.
It might have been 10.
It might have been 10.
So obviously that team, he took unbelievable run to the Final Four and then losing to Williams in the number 1 or 2 UNC Tar Heels. But I just think Jim Boeheim has not had a lot of great talent, but he's been able to get them. Well, I mean, he's been able to get not the furthest places, but they've been able to sneak into the tournament a lot with not a lot of talent. I think that is something to take in. And obviously, the 2013 run with the number 3 or 2 Syracuse Orange, 4 maybe, and then they beat Victor Oladipo and the Indiana Hoosiers. But I think Boeheim, obviously he should have 1,000 wins, but the sanctions, I mean, Coach K gets nothing for paying, but that's like another whole situation. And then Jim Boeheim just gets clobbered on. But yeah, that's my Coach K, Boeheim, and Williams.
All right, so we're going to jump back into the NFL now. We've taken a little debrief from the Dak and Wentz. We'll get back into it here. We're going to go with Keenan Allen, Julian Edelman, and Courtland Sutton. Matt, I'm going to start with you on this one.
This one's interesting because I'm cutting Edelman just because of age, and I think that Edelman might not be the same player as he was with Brady. Who knows with Cam Newton? But I really like Sutton, but I'm going to have to start Keenan Allen here and then bench Courtland Sutton. I think Sutton is definitely going to have a great couple years coming ahead with Drew Lock and that young Broncos team. But I think Allen has been a very great wide receiver for the Chargers in the past couple of years with Phillip Rivers. Obviously, who knows what he's going to do with Tyrod Taylor / Justin Herbert under center. But that's how I'm going to do it in my.
Mike, what do you think?
I'm agreeing with Matt. I have to start Keenan Allen, bench Courtland Sutton, and then cutting Edelman. Cutting Edelman was the easiest one. I feel like he's on the decline, especially the last year or two with all the injuries, and I just don't think that his play has lived up to par. And then with Courtland Sutton, I think maybe not next year, but the year after, he'll definitely be better than Keenan Allen. And the only reason I'm picking Keenan Allen over Sutton is just because he's been so consistently really good over the past 3 to 5 years. So that's why I'm going with Keenan Allen over Sutton.
Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Matt and Mike on this one. I'm going to start Allen, bench Sutton, and cut Edelman. And, they summed up pretty well. But just with Edelman, I think that now Tom Brady not being there, I think that's definitely going to hurt him. I don't think that he's going to be at the same level. What?
You lagged again.
You lagged again.
Keep going.
I'm lagging again. I apologize. All I was saying is that I don't think he's going to be at the same level without Tom Brady. But yeah, those are good picks.
I'm once again gonna switch the order here in Cortland Sutton and Keenan Allen. It was a tough decision, but I'm gonna go back to Denver's draft when they picked Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler, because other than Cortland Sutton, Denver really didn't have a target there, which is why everyone was flooding to Cortland Sutton, and he still had a good season last year. Now with other targets there in Denver, the pressure is going to be off of Sutton, and they're going to have to rely on holding Jerry Jeudy down and holding KJ Hamler down. And Drew Lock's going to be able to find Sutton there, and he's going to have a good season here. And I think he's going to have a better season than Keenan Allen. And the big thing with Keenan Allen is he's another player who can't stay on the field. He's constantly injured. So that's why I'm going to go Sutton over Allen.
I mean, I'm fact checking this right now, but I think over the past couple of years he's played full seasons. I mean,
He missed one season for a whole.
Last year he played 16 games. The year before 16 games. The year before 16 games. 2015 was the last. 2016, was the last time he was fully injured. So, I feel like his injuries are sort of blown out of proportion. He had like 2 years there where he was really injured, but I think he's kind of flown under the radar, and that's a part of being with the Chargers. I just think he's been so consistent 1,000-yard receiver, 8+ touchdowns a year. I mean, Cortland Sutton has done that for 1 year. I just want to see him do it at least one more.
Yeah, I definitely think this was a very interesting one that we could have thrown over Sutton and Allen. But we're going to finish off. I know you guys can listen to us all day, and we could do this all day, but we do have a time. We don't want to keep you guys for too long. So I'm going to end this off on this one. It's LeBron, Giannis, and Kawhi. So interesting. Mike, what do you think?
I mean, this is really tough. If you watch the first couple episodes, I said that Kawhi was better than LeBron, and I'm sticking with that. I'm starting Kawhi, benching LeBron, and then cutting Giannis. I feel like all these players are so close to each other. I don't know what you're doing, and the reason I'm benching LeBron and not benching Giannis is because of his success in the playoffs. Giannis hasn't even gotten to an NBA championship yet. And listen, he's had a great regular season. I just need to see him dominate in the postseason.
Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going to disagree with Mike on this one. I think just because of where he is today, and, he's the youngest one on this list, I think I'm going to start Giannis, and then I'm going to bench LeBron, and then I'm going to cut Kawhi. I know, hot take, but, LeBron obviously, people have been debating it for years, whether he's better than MJ or not, and we'll get into that in a couple episodes for 23, but, he is one of the best of all time, but I just think today I would rather have Giannis just where he is. He's got a lot more in the tank, obviously, because he's younger, but and Kawhi's great as well, won that world championship with Toronto a couple years ago, and he's outstanding. But, that's who I'm going to go with on this one.
Connor, what do you got?
I don't know. I have no idea what to do.
Come on, chop.
Rapido.
This is easily the hardest start bench cut that we've had.
I think I have to agree with that. Other than the Bellinger Betts one, I think this is definitely the hardest.
I think I'm going to start Giannis. And I'm going to bench Kawhi. And I think I'm going to cut LeBron. Now, that sounds so cynical to me, and I hate hearing that come out of my mouth. But Giannis and Kawhi just have so much time left in the league right now. And if we're doing this based off of real time right now, Giannis and Kawhi are playing better than LeBron. They may not be better overall players than him, but right now they're playing better than him. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to start Giannis, bench Kawhi, and cut LeBron.
kind of insane, Connor. I mean, like Mike said, second episode, like Kawhi, and we kind of freaked out it together. But this is a hard one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna agree with Tommy here. I'm definitely starting Giannis. Giannis is about to win his second MVP in a row. I don't know why you're cutting it.
I thought we were talking about more right now, like who's the best player right now. Obviously, moving forward, I'm taking Giannis.
Yeah, right now, Giannis is the best. He's about to win his second MVP in a row. Like, are you kidding me?
Listen, I don't think MVP is indicative of the best player in the league.
Most valuable.
Wait.
It's not best player in the league. If it was best player in the league, Michael Jordan would have 10 MVPs. LeBron James would have 10 MVPs.
It's
Magic
the best
Johnson
player in the
would
league for
have
that whole
MVPs.
season. I mean, I know I got confused. Six man. I thought that was the best player of the year, like you. I thought I got that confused too. So.
I mean, MVP is not indicative of the best player in the league. It's just who's most valuable to their team and who's having the most outstanding performance. And
So
listen,
you're telling
Giannis
me
is
now-
having a fantastic season right now.
Can we
Don't
just
get me
let
wrong.
Matt give his picks?
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I mean, he asked for my opinion. So.
I didn't ask for you to talk. I mean, I never asked for you to talk. You just jump in. But LeBron is going to be my bench, and then I'm cutting Kawhi. That was really tough for me. I can't give you like a full explanation why I did that. Just my gut right now speaking to me. But yeah, you could go on if you want, Mike. I'm letting you talk now.
Okay. So let me clarify this. So are you guys saying Giannis right now is the best player in the NBA?
100%.
Yeah.
You
Isn't he
think
averaging
so?
a double-double?
Oh, wow, double. That never happens in the NBA.
Right, because Mike gets double-doubles all the time.
Oh, easily, dude. I'm going 40 and 25. Call me like Wilt Chamberlain. No big deal. But anyways, all jokes aside, I just think I don't know if Giannis can get it done in the playoffs. And I think a lot of teams can scheme a defense around him to where they force him to shoot the ball a lot more. Listen, Giannis is getting better with the shot, but I don't think it's good enough to the point where it's a weapon yet. And that's the reason why I'm taking LeBron and Kawhi over Giannis. Yes, Giannis. He's a monster defensively. I mean, so is Kawhi, much less LeBron. But I think Giannis's shooting just brings him down below both those players.
This is I don't know. Just it's Giannis. I don't know. I see where you're
Just is Giannis?
I see where you're going from.
There is no right answer for a question like this. I mean, they are three superstars in the league.
Listen, if you have any of these players on your team, you're not complaining one bit. Let's be honest.
No, you're not. So this is obviously going to finish off. I wish we could go longer, but it is what it is. I know Tommy wishes we could go longer too.
What do we think about the ones that we couldn't get to from our fans we post on our Instagram story?
Oh, thank you guys for all your replies. I honestly didn't think we'd get a lot, but
Yeah,
really great ones. A lot of great ones. We had a couple tennis, one golf. We could get to those, but we don't have all day. So.
But wait, there's one I need to point out. Okay, listen. Kwame Brown, Tavo Cephalosha, Larry Bird, age 55. Start bench cut right now. Connor, go.
You can't put me on the spot here. Larry Bird always. Kwame Brown, Thabo Cephalosha.
Dude, Thabo Cephalosha has the best goatee in the game. Bro. Are you kidding?
Okay.
No, I'm thinking back to my gaming days when I would always play with the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe Bryant, and when they had Kwame Brown in the post all the time.
Okay, Tommy, what do you think?
Mike, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know most of these people.
Okay,
I'll
sorry.
start Larry Bird because I know him. He played for the Celtics, but I don't know. Swing it over to Matt Cade on this one.
Matt, what do you think?
It's Larry Bird. I have to start him. Thabo Cephalosha plus 20 for like his goatee, so that puts him over the hump for Kwame Brown. For me.
Listen, I love Larry Bird, but listen, he retired early because of his back at I don't know how young he retired. It was like early 30s. So 20 years later, you think about it, he's probably like on with like his cane and a roller. I mean, he's just out of shape. So I'm cutting him. At least Tabo, Cephaloshin, Kwame Brown can move. I'm gonna start Tabo. You know, he could probably make a layup or two. Kwame, I'm not sure about. He probably like hits off the side of the backboard, out of bounds the other team's ball. But you know, we could throw up a couple Stephen A. Smith rants about Kwame Brown, but that's who I have to go with.
Well, obviously, we really hope you guys enjoyed this format for this episode. Start bench cuts are always fun, especially when they involve sports like this. So it's always fun to get other people's opinions. And like we saw with the Wentz and the Dak, not everyone's going to agree. You can't agree. That doesn't make sports fun.
Yeah.
Nobody agrees in life, just in general.
Especially with Cowboy fans.
Oh my God. But obviously, if you guys want to see this happen again, let us know. We would definitely do this again. And,
Don't forget to vote for who won Goal of the Week.
Yeah, that
We're
post
gonna
is
throw that poll up on Instagram.
yeah, it'll be up for a couple hours depending when you're watching this. But obviously, subscribe, like, comment, let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear. We got sports coming up in what, like 8 days, Tommy?
Woo! 8 days away, Yankees Nets. I'm ready for it.
There you go. Take it to the outro.